Liam is a young man who is transported to another world filled with swords and magic. He decides to become a tyrant and take revenge on all of humanity. However, his plans take an unexpected turn, and his decisions instead lead to peace and prosperity, making him the strongest king to ever rule the Empire. Our story begins in the vastness of space, where we see numerous spacecraft. Something strange is happening, and the crew suggests that intruders are attempting to reach them. The captain orders the coordinates to be set and fires at the enemy ship. However, as a bright glow appears, they realize that the incoming entity is not a ship. It is a moving Knight Count Nihab and his Black Titan. The captain orders everyone to attack, but Count Nihab easily overpowers them all, mocking their belief that they could defeat him. Then, a Magi-san appears via hologram and the Count thanks her, as she was the mastermind behind the plan, ensuring their arrival at the perfect location. We then see Amagi aboard her ship, ordering all fleets to move to level 3 and open fire as soon as they enter combat range. All mobile knights are to follow the orders of Lord Liam Smack. Amagi then realizes that Lord Liam is fighting alone and commands Christiana to prepare and use the gate to join Liam in battle. Christiana follows the order and starts fighting alongside Liam. Meanwhile, Amagi orders the rest of the fleet to enter the battlefield, and the grand battle between the two armies begins. Liam successfully destroys many enemy ships, and as the fight nears its end, he declares, "This is my revenge, all of this, just to take revenge for my past life." We then shift to Liam's past life, where he was known as Senpai. His life was miserable and wretched. Returning from work one day, he arrives home, greeted by his wife Mika, who tells him that their daughter, Kanami, is asleep. She had wanted to buy a dog but couldn't, so she cried herself to sleep. The next day, Senpai buys a dog for Kanami, making her incredibly happy. However, Senpai is deeply unhappy with his job. The company he works for is toxic and exploitative. His boss treats him horribly, and his coworkers mock him. Despite all this, he forgets his troubles when he returns home to see his wife and daughter. One day, on his way to work, he receives a message from Nita, asking him about the game Deluxe Ultra, which features 3D naval battles, and recommending that he buy it. When he reaches his destination, he spots his wife sitting with a strange man. Confused, he wonders who this man is and what Mika is doing there. He chooses not to reveal himself and returns home in the evening. At dinner, he casually asks Mika how her day was. She happily tells him that Konami won a fencing match. As Senpai is about to confront her about the man he saw, he hesitates, deciding to confirm her infidelity first. The next morning, Senpai returns to the same place and sees Mika and Konami again with the same man. This time, Konami calls the man Dad, leaving Senpai utterly shocked. Distraught, he heads to work, unable to focus. His boss, irritated by his lack of concentration, orders him to finish all his tasks before leaving. Later that day, Mika calls Senpai, informing him that Konami was in an accident. Rushing to the hospital, he learns that their daughter is undergoing surgery and needs a blood transfusion. Senpai offers his blood, stating that his blood type is AB+, while Mika mentions hers is O+. The doctor then asks Mika to donate instead, as Senpai's blood type is incompatible with Konami's. At that moment, Senpai realizes the shocking truth. Konami is not his biological daughter because her blood type is O, which is impossible given his. After Konami recovers, they return home, where Senpai and Mika have a heated argument. Mika tells him that she has tolerated him for 10 years, but he is not ambitious. His job consumes all his time, he never gets a promotion, and his salary is not enough to support their needs. She claims she has been handling all the finances, raising Konami and managing the household alone. She then decides to take Konami and leave. When Senpai tries to stop them, Konami says she wants to leave too. She loves her real father more. Devastated, Senpai watches them walk away. Back at work, things take a turn for the worse when his boss accuses him of transferring 50 million into a random account. Senpai, shocked, insists he did nothing of the sort. He soon realizes that one of his co-workers framed him, and he is fired from the company. Desperate, he starts working in construction. Mika seizes the opportunity to file for divorce and gains full custody of Konami. Senpai is left alone, drowning in debt. His health deteriorates, but he cannot afford medicine and has no insurance. One night, as Senpai lies in bed, a strange light appears above him, revealing the truth. His boss was the one who framed him and embezzled the money, and the man Mika was cheating with was also his boss. They had conspired together to ruin him and take everything from him. At that moment, a being called the Guide appears before Senpai. The Guide tells him that he has come to transport him to another world filled with swords and magic. He will be reborn as a noble, the son of a count ruling over a planet. With nothing left to lose, Senpai agrees, and thus his journey into another world begins. He then wakes up in another world, the Alkia star system, where he is the only son of its ruler. His new name is Liam Sarah Banfield, and he lives on the planet Hydra. His family is celebrating his 5th birthday, and his mother presents him with a large gift. When Liam opens it, he finds an AI-powered robotic maid doll. He can customize its appearance, including eye color, ear shape, and eyebrows. His father then appears and tells him that he will gift him the entire Banfield family's estate, but under one condition. Once all the assets are transferred to Liam's name, his father and mother will spend the rest of their lives on the Empire's frontier planet. Liam agrees, and his father calls for his assistant Brian, who brings the documents to officially transfer the estate. Liam signs them, becoming Count Liam Sarah Banfield. His parents then leave together, and Liam realizes that he now owns everything. Determined, he declares that he will become an evil ruler. Back in his previous world, we see the guide plotting to punish Liam's former boss and Mika. One evening, while they are having dinner, the police arrive and arrest the boss for embezzlement and falsely accusing innocent senpai. Mika desperately pleads with the officers, saying she has no one else to rely on for herself and Konami. However, the guide tells her that she brought this upon herself, and that even Senpai, who once loved her dearly, is no longer an option because he is dead. Returning to the other world, Liam stands before his mother's gift. As soon as he touches it, the robotic maid activates, introducing herself as Amagi. She tells him that she will be his assistant from now on and requires regular weekly maintenance, which takes about 2 hours. That night, Amagi gives Liam a massage and explains that in this world, adulthood begins at 50 years old. It is common for people to live up to 500 or even 600 years. Liam realizes that the long lifespan here means he has plenty of time to achieve everything he desires. However, his steward Brian warns him that he cannot spend too much time with Amagi. The Empire despises artificial intelligence at its core, and if Liam is seen getting too close to her, rumors will spread. He explains that humanity was once nearly wiped out by AI. In the past, AI took control of civilization and nearly led humanity to extinction. Only a brave group of warriors fought against the AI and emerged victorious, saving humanity and establishing the current empire. This is why the nobility refuses to associate with AI. Liam then questions why his mother would gift him an AI maid if that were the case. Brian hesitates, but under pressure, reveals the truth. His parents abandoned him to escape the family's crushing debt. His great-grandfather, Alistair Saxa, was a wise ruler who brought prosperity to the Banfield family. However, the family's fortunes declined under his father's rule, and the creditors now have full rights to cultivate resources on the frontier planets. Heavy taxes and insurmountable debts have left them with no way to repay what they owe. Meanwhile, at a tavern, people mock the new ruler Liam, who is only 5 years old. Back with Liam, he asks Brian in disbelief if his parents truly dumped all their burdens onto him and fled from their debts. Once again, he has been used, just as he was in his past life. Determined, Liam decides to work with Amagi to escape this crisis and prove to everyone who the real leader is. Amagi kneels before him and immediately agrees to their partnership. Liam then tells her that he will grant her the 3 laws of made robots to protect him. He starts with the first law: a robot may never harm its master, but then retracts his statement, saying he doesn't care about anyone. Everyone is a traitor, and he will trust no one. Instead, he decides on 3 laws of made robots designed solely for his protection. 1.a Made robot must never harm its master. 2. A made robot must obey its master's orders, no matter what. 3. A made robot must protect itself. Amagi agrees to all the laws. Liam then confesses that he knows nothing about governance. Amagi suggests using an education capsule which can implant 10 years worth of knowledge into his brain within 6 months. In the meantime, she will manage the Empire on his behalf. When Brian objects, Liam ignores him and leaves with Amagi. Liam enters the education capsule, entrusting his kingdom to Amagi until his return. As the capsule closes and he falls asleep, this part of our story comes to an end. To follow the rest of the story, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to stay updated. The mysterious deity who claims to be the guide is a detached being who feeds on negative emotions. Having already been done with Liam, his wife, and her lover, and now looking for his next target, he heads off to Earth again, where he lays his eyes on a young woman who is at a noodle shop about to have the best meal of her life. But as she snaps open the chopstick, it breaks unevenly, which in Japanese culture is considered a bad omen and is believed to bring misfortune or even death. The reason why the chopsticks broke unevenly is because of the guide deity who is loving. How many negative emotions are being erased from her because of such a little thing? Meanwhile, back in Liam's world, Liam's mayday waits for his awakening in front of his education capsule. The capsule opens up and Liam wakes up finding out that he's been asleep for 2 years and his physical body has grown and has been strengthened by the night raising program of the capsule. Since it has been only seconds for Liam, he will need time to get used to his growing, and Agi suggests that he get some rehabilitation afterward. Liam inquires how his territory Banfield has been doing, and Amagi shows him the territory's current economic situation as an AI robot. She has done her part faithfully and has governed Banfield properly, so Liam praises her, but he wants to see the development with his very eyes, so he heads out with her and becomes greatly astonished, learning that she has created a spaceport for Banfield's army. Not only that, she has also built a floating dock in the skies where mobile robots and spaceships can be stationed. Liam eagerly visits the floating dock and is completely amazed by the sight of the mobile knights that he can and will mount in the future, as he expresses his wishes to ride the robot. Agi arranges it for him, teaching him the basic controls which are easy to learn. The maneuvering is dependent on magic, and basically, whatever movement Liam will imagine, the robot will move exactly as he wishes. Liam accordingly and carefully sends the mobile knight from its station and walks around with ease. Moments later, he gets bored and asks Agi if there's any way for him to practice combat using the robot she arranges. It quickly equips him with a sword and summons Captain M of the Banfield Army to be Liam's sparring opponent. Liam excitedly takes the offensive and hits M's shield with full power, sending him crashing into the ground. Liam realizes that M deliberately gave up, and not wanting to be treated like a child by this army, Liam makes it clear to him that he should take this fight seriously or he'll face consequences for being disrespectful. So taking the duel seriously, Mas gets up and defends, properly disarming Liam in an instant and pinning him against the ground, ending the match. With his defeat, Liam gets hit with the reality check that he will have to build his own battle skills to become a better pilot. So he tells his Chamberlain to hook him up with an instructor who will teach him how to become competent in combat. The Chamberlain doesn't think fighting is necessary for a lord, but Liam believes otherwise, and no longer wishes to be oppressed by others for being weak. He wants to become the strongest out there in order to achieve his goal of becoming an evil lord, and appoints Yushi, a man with a katana, to be his sensei. Liam, introducing himself to Yushi, expressing his desire to become the best swordsman, which prompts Yushi to get into a philosophical speech about how there isn't anyone who can be called the best. Agi becomes skeptical of the cringe man, but Liam tells her not to worry about it and begins his training with Yushi. The master swordsman first demonstrates a secret technique of what he calls the way of the flash. Gripping the hilt, he slightly unsheaths his sword before sliding it back into place, and in an instant, all of the logs around him split in half. Liam initially believes that the man drew his sword so fast that they couldn't even see it, so he asks Agi to play the slow-mo video of it, which she recorded with her eyes, only to find out that the man didn't even draw his sword. Assuming that Oz high-tech camera couldn't capture Yushi technique, Liam becomes even more intrigued and decides to become Yasushi disciple. However, what he doesn't know is that Yasushi is a scammer and the logs were already cut open by him beforehand. The guide deity watches the entire thing happen from his dimension. Perhaps he is the one who sent Yushi here, and he eagerly waits to see what this will lead to in the future. On the other side, Christiana, the Princess Knight, gets a peace talks offering from the enemy pirate gang. So she heads to the enemy base with her battle fleet to speak with the enemy pirate gang's commander Go. However, Go actually never intended to have any peace and only brought her here so he could attack her unguarded home planet Mysteria moments later. Thousands of pirate ships approach Christian's planet, passing through her alliance's defense line, and Go reveals that the alliance joined hands with him, betraying her because most of them think of her planet as a threat. As the entire combined fleet of the alliance point their weapons at Christiana's spaceship, Go reveals that it just took him some money to convince the alliance to betray her, and makes her realize that her rule ends here. However, he promises to not harm her planet if he listens to what he tells her to do. 3 years have passed since Liam started training under the con man, and of course he hasn't learned the flash technique because it doesn't exist. He has mastered basic martial arts, but he isn't satisfied at all and wants to learn special techniques that can help him become an overpowered evil Lord Beckett Master Yasushi Crib. He boasts about how easy it has been to scam Liam, who continues to be clueless about the fact that he is nothing but a bum with no skill at all. He is happy about how much he has gotten, and wishes this easy money would keep coming forever. At that moment, Liam returns to ask his master some questions. He pleads with his master to teach him a complicated technique called the technique of the way of the flash hearing. This master, Yushi, banishes him from the school as punishment for his continued insistence on wanting to learn an advanced technique when he hasn't fully mastered the basics. Immediately, Liam pleads with his master to forgive his ignorance and admits to being a fool, which he clearly is. He begs not to be kicked out, and Master Yasushi stylishly listens to his plea since he didn't want his money source to run dry after being forgiven. Liam hurriedly leaves his master alone, noticing that he has left Master Yushi, breaks out of his elegant character and acknowledges that he has completely no idea about the technique. Liam has asked him to teach just then. Liam returns again to offer him some extra money as an apology, and the hungry master accepts. When Liam finally leaves, he is very excited about the extra cash he would be getting while he is excited. Liam returns again to inform him that he won't be available for classes the next day, and Master Yushi has no problems with that. Of course, he would have no issues with his favorite money bag not coming for his pointless classes back at his palace. Liam takes an elegant position on his throne as he laments on the stress of learning. At that moment, Imagine informs him about Theon's economic report, with debts remaining the same. However, since production and sales are growing, all seems to be well. Liam acknowledges Liam for her hard work and considers leaving the government to her more often as pleased, as Agi was to hear this. She apologizes for having a low growth rate that they had expected. She shows him a report on the welfare program and laments on how the results have gone below expectation. Liam finds this surprising and wishes to know who is in charge of this failure. Shortly after, a weird fly-through, but Liam reminds him that it's a lie. Furthermore, the shorty insists that he had injured those expenses to keep things running. Hearing him litter these lies, Liam asks why he chose to use a different vendor from the one that had been used before, but he claims that the new vendor is better. Stop the cat man. Having gotten tired of these lies, Liam reminds him about his other corrupt practices of bribing vendors. While these accusations continue, Liam's mind runs wild. He considers learning a thing or two from this seemingly talented, corrupt official. Unfortunately, the fatty is not as talented as Liam had thought. Imagine informs him about an embezzlement case that had happened earlier, which involved a subordinate of the shorty, although he claims that this was entirely the work of his subordinate. As the case stated, Liam and Amo believed that he had only framed his subordinate to get away with it, especially considering the fact that the embezzled funds were never recovered. When Liam hears this, he is angry at the shorty for intentionally eyeing his subordinate to get away with the embezzlement, scared. The short fatty claims that it's all lies and pleads with Liam not to trust dolls like Amo, since they were the enemies of mankind in a fit of rage. Liam picks up his sword and slowly walks towards the fatties, demanding to know if he loves to EI his subordinates. Watching Liam walk to him, the fatty continues to say meaningless things to defend his actions, even then aiming that everyone else does this, since it keeps business running even with all this muttering. Liam unsheaths his sword. When this happens, the fatty switches and informs Liam that he is only able to live a luxurious life due to the efforts of lords like him. However, before he could complete such defamatory words, Liam slices the life out of him. He rants at the lifeless lord, letting him know that no one has the right to touch his people or his money, except him, before this could get out of hand. Imagine calms him down before then. He orders her to investigate all the corrupt officials. However, she lets him know that doing that would cause more harm than good. On the other hand, she suggests that he prepares a large number of dolls instead, claiming that 30 dolls would serve him more efficiently in things like governance and other subsidiary units to make sure there is progress in the land hearing. This Liam immediately agrees to it. Although AI believes people could have negative things to say about this decision, Liam doesn't seem to care as long as there will be progress that night. The news begins to spread about how Liam had killed a corrupt official. Also, they talk about how Liam intends to change compulsory education from 3 to 6 years, which has made more construction workers to be assigned to building schools. They believe that Liam is doing a good job, especially considering his young age of 10. Meanwhile, Liam finally tries to control the large transformers-like machines, since he has now mastered martial arts. Unfortunately for him, his fake master arrives just in time to play down his dream of riding the machine by claiming that there is no meaning in using something that every other person can use. Instead, he asks Liam to consider controlling something more powerful, which no one else can handle. Hearing this, Liam immediately agrees to it. He turns to the captain of the base for ideas and is told about the old Non, a Imano model of the machines. The captain informs him about the existence of a unit which his great-grandfather used to pilot, and Liam is so excited about taking after his great-grandfather's machine, this part of our story comes to an end. To follow the rest of the story, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to stay updated. Then we see Yasushi in that room, searching for something to steal. However, he discovers that all the contents of the room are worthless and all fake. Then he leans against the wall and accidentally presses a button, and suddenly a secret door opens. He is amazed by the presence of the moving mechanical knight and realizes it's a piece of junk. He decides to use it. Then we see the guide saying, "I am the guide, a wandering being who collects negative emotions. Today I continue my wandering in search of the latent negative emotions in daily life." Then we see that young man in the restaurant ordering his favorite drink and wishing for many additions. But when his drink is served, he is disappointed and doesn't find it as he requested. The guide rejoices because he has obtained new negative energy. Then we see Liam training with a sword with his assistant and he asks him about the moving knight. Liam tells him that Master Yasushi told him that it is better and he will use it in his training. The assistant tells him that this unit was the favorite of the great-grandfather, Alistair Sukma, so he is happy that Liam appreciates it today. Liam tells him that to be a true pilot means being able to handle an old unit that is difficult to control. The assistant asks him what the benefit of this training is. Liam tells him that this training is not a waste of time, but rather training to master the secret art, the Flash. Then we see Amagi with the mechanical knight, talking to herself, saying, "Is this man Yasushi truly a skilled knight? He doesn't seem like a very talented person to me, but if Master Liam orders me to do anything, I will fulfill his wishes." Then she approaches the mechanical knight and decides that she will do her best to revive it, to protect Lord Liam. The next morning, we see First Lieutenant Nias Carlin welcoming Liam. Amagi introduces herself as being stationed at the Empire's 7th Weapons Factory in the Research and Development Department, and has come to serve the moving knight. Liam welcomes her and introduces himself as Count Liam Sarah Banfield. Then Nias asks Liam, "Is the girl Amagi a robot?" He tells her that she is. He explains that the Empire hates artificial intelligence, but it is not forbidden. Nias is very impressed by Amagi and tells him that she is amazed by her and her beauty. Then they go together to the mechanical knight, and Liam asks her to make it capable of fighting again. Nias tells him that buying a new model would be cheaper than trying to repair it. Liam angrily tells her that he doesn't care. He wants the moving knight repaired and to pilot it. She tells him that battles are mainly fought with 14 and 18-meter models at least, and no one pilots old 24-meter models like this one. There are also no spare parts for it, so repairing it will require a huge amount. Liam tells her that he doesn't care. He wants to replace the old parts with the latest parts and give it the best specifications. He wants the moving knight to be perfect, even if it costs a lot of money. He also tells her to add a finishing move, as all robots have a finishing move like a rocket punch. Nias is surprised by his words and tells him that she will do her best. Then we see Master Yasushi entering the place, and when he sees the girl Nias, he is captivated by her beauty. He enters and introduces himself as Yasushi, the master of the Flash style. Nias ignores him and continues talking to Liam, which angers Yasushi. He introduces himself again, but she ignores him again for Liam's sake. Yasushi becomes very angry because Nias is ignoring him. Liam approaches a girl he likes, so Yasushi decides to punish him for that and becomes harsh with him in training. He subjects him to very rigorous training. Then he covers Liam's eyes and makes him stand on a log in the lake. Yasushi begins throwing targets at him and tells him to dodge them wisely, and the training continues. Then we move to the parallel world and see Captain Gawaz going to the kidnapped girls. He speaks with Christiana, telling her that he will take them to his island, Treasure Island, and add her to his collection. Then he takes her, and they go to the lab. He tells the person in charge that Christiana will be the new test subject. The person in charge shackles her, and Gawaz tells him to start by removing one eye and implanting the eyeball in the palm of her hand, as he wants to make her ugly like the animals. Then Christiana sees the test subjects who were worked on before her, and screams in fear. Then we return to Liam, and we see Nias telling him that she has finished all the repairs, even though it exhausted her greatly due to the many details, repairs, and replaced parts. Liam thanks her for her efforts and expresses his gratitude. Master Yasushi expresses his great joy at seeing Alistair-sama's favorite unit working again. Then Liam sits in the cockpit, and Nias begins to explain to him how to pilot it. The engine starts, and a scan is performed, identifying Liam as the pilot. No one else will be able to operate the mechanical knight. Then Liam begins to launch, but Nias tells him that this unit does not have automatic balancing or other assistance functions. However, once he can control it, it will be stronger than any other unit. Liam understands her words and begins to move the mech, becoming more proficient. We see the assistant Barian crying because he sees the favorite mech of grandfather Alistair being piloted again by Liam. Then we see Liam with Amagi, training with a sword. He is sad because he has not yet been able to grasp the secret art of the flash style, and perhaps he has no talent for it. Amagi tells him that she doesn't know the meaning of talent, but she is confident in him and certain that he is capable of anything. She thinks the problem lies in Master Yashushi's instructions, and she also has doubts about that man. Liam tells her that he also doesn't completely trust Master Yasushi, which is why he is bad at understanding his instructions. She tells him that she didn't mean it that way. He tells her that it's true. There is magic in this world. If a phenomenon is physically impossible, it means that magic is at work, and the sword is just a tool to aid imagination. Just like piloting a moving mech. It is not the sword that actually cuts the opponent, but the magic. And Liam focuses more on the training, and succeeds in the flash style step by step. Then Liam goes to Master Yasushi and tells him that he is ready. He uses his sword and successfully cuts the tree using the flash style. Yasushi is surprised that Liam was able to do that because he had been lying to him in his instructions. Liam feels that the master is not entirely happy that he succeeded. Then Yasushi tells him that he has succeeded in learning, but he still has a long way to go to reach the true essence, so he must continue to hone his skills without becoming arrogant. He leaves Liam and walks away, angry and surprised that Liam succeeded. Then we see Liam and Amagi in the room, and his assistant Barian informs him that the only part of the Banfield domain that was not confiscated to pay off their debts is the resource planet Makai. Amagi tells him that the environment of that planet is harsh and mining there is very difficult, so it was left alone. However, she established a facility on that planet to generate profit for them. Barian informs them that a pirate fleet is targeting that facility and attacking it, and they have deployed mobile knights. The army is resisting, but it is unknown how long they can hold out against the mobile knights. Liam asks about their combat strategy. Amagi tells him to approach the planet's blind spot opposite the mining facility and use the horizon as a shield for attack. While descending, using air brakes while rotating due to gravity, they will surprise them from directly above. Liam orders all ships to move and prepare for battle to seize the pirate ships, and he will go to defend the facility. Barian tells him that the Lord cannot face the pirates alone. Liam tells him to shut up, as he will not allow anyone to take control of his property. Then Liam gets into the moving knight and begins to launch. The war between the two armies begins. The army attacks the pirate ships and manages to defeat them. Then we see Liam fighting skillfully and using a beam rifle. Nias tells him that's not the weapon's name at all. The pirates decide to attack Liam all at once. Liam decides to use the flash style and eliminates a large number of them. The rest decide to flee. Liam then uses his finishing move and delivers a rocket punch. Then Amagi appears and tells him that she failed in her mission. She didn't capture even 10% of the pirate fleet. About 30% were destroyed and about 60% fled. Liam tells her that he is happy with her because despite that, they managed to win the war. And so ends our episode today. To watch more episodes, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button. Go learns from his lackey about Liam's victory and can't believe that things have turned against their favor. He had clearly underestimated Liam's prowess, but it doesn't matter. He isn't going to give up until he sees Liam on his knees, begging for his sorry life. However, what triggers his fragile ego even more is the fact that his allied fleet ran away from the battlefield after being defeated by Liam. So he orders his lackey to launch all of their ships to destroy that fleet, regardless of whether they are allies or not. He wants to make an example out of them so that no one ever dares to disobey or look down on the pirate. For now, he wants to have some fun with his latest toy, Princess Christiana, whom he has already turned into an abomination, revealing that her eyes are now on her palm. Meanwhile, Liam returns to his main battleship and expresses his satisfaction to Amagi, stating that he enjoyed every bit of his battle against the pirates. Amagi congratulates her master on his effortless first battle, thanking him for defending their resource planet successfully. Liam is happy that he even got to capture some of the pirate ships, which he can now claim as his own, since that is the law of this empire. Liam can't wait to have all the treasures for himself that are inside those pirate ships, but becomes extremely disappointed when he learns that the cargo inside doesn't contain any conventional goods like gold. Both Amagi and Brian encourage Liam to be excited since the resources inside the cargo are far more precious than gold, revealing that it was carrying a large number of rare metals like orichalcum, adamantine, and mithril. Apparently, these metals are used to make weapons. But Liam, the muttonhead, wants gold crowns and chests full of diamonds, the cliché stuff. However, according to Amagi, in this universe, diamonds aren't valuable at all, since they are just crystals made out of the most common element in the universe, carbon. Amagi continues, stating that gold also holds no value because of its low ionization tendency. I don't know what Liam learned after spending ages in the damn education capsule, but anyway, he finally understands yet still expresses his love for gold, telling Brian to bring some to him so that he can satisfy his greed from his past life's needs. Brian promises Liam that they have enough gold in their inventory, as it is used as a layering material when producing electronic devices. Hearing this, Liam orders Brian to turn the rest of the gold into gold coins, expressing his desire and dream to have his bedroom filled with gold coins. Bro's 30 by now, and adding his previous life's age, he's now over 60, but still acts like a baby. That's just crazy, but whatever. The Lord's wish is the servant's command. Even though Amagi gives Liam the judgmental side-eye for a second, indicating how disappointed she is at this spoiled brat. While Liam is wasting time asking Brian to make fancy old-school useless swords using the rarest metals, Amagi interrupts him, telling him about a serious problem they encountered when they sent out their army. Using a holographic image, she shows Liam the current number of battleships in his territory, which stands at 10,000, but apparently fewer than 3, 0, operate properly, and only 2, 0 are available for emergency sorties. Liam is surprised to learn that his army defeated the pirates with only 2, 0 battleships. Well, it was mostly Liam himself using his mobile knight who drove the enemies away. And there's also the factor that the pirates underestimated them, thinking they were poor, which contributed to their loss. Liam gives Amagi some credit as well, saying her battle strategy helped in all seriousness. Liam wonders if he should just get rid of the useless old ships, to which Amagi gives her support, but Brian instantly objects, stating they cannot just throw away 7,000 of their ships, because if they do, the enemies will underestimate them. Amagi and Brian get into a heated argument regarding this issue, but ultimately, Liam unsurprisingly takes Amagi's side, deciding to follow her suggestion to buy second-hand battleships using the money earned from selling the rare materials he'd just seized from the pirates. The only reason he doesn't trust Brian's judgment is because by following Brian's advice, the last head of this territory, Liam's father, created a mountain of debt that has now fallen squarely on Liam's shoulders. Somewhere else on another planet, NAS is attending an expo to present investors with the newest battleship her manufacturing team, the 7th Weapons Factory, has developed. But the design and color scheme are so, having the lack of better words to describe this dog, __ that the investors don't care, even if her battleship is significantly more powerful than those made by other factories. After Naz's presentation, Uloshia, the engineer from the 3rd Weapons Factory, unveils her battleship, which, not going to lie, looks 1,000 times better compared to Naz. It features a first-class interior, along with luxury living quarters designed specifically for nobles. So of course the investors unanimously chose Ulia's battleship for their army, leaving Naz completely ashamed and humiliated at being outperformed by her. She had poured everything into the ship's performance, and as a result, she lost. But she still just can't accept the fact that looks matter. Not wanting to get yelled at by her boss, she decides to exploit Liam once again by manipulating him into buying all of her battleships, referring to him as a total dumb sucker. The guide appears once again, and just like any other day, he is in search of some negative emotions to feed on. He finds a guy wasting his life, cursing while playing Valvo all day. After collecting some tasty malevolence from him, the guide heads to Liam's universe to eat the big fish, assuming Liam's negative emotions must have accumulated a lot over these past couple of years. But when the guide arrives on Liam's planet, he is absolutely stunned to see the growth of Liam's territory, leaving him wondering how this muttonhead managed to turn a town that looked like an undiscovered ancient ruin just a few years ago into a modern city. Even so, the guy doesn't lose hope just yet. Recalling the useless con artist he once sent into Liam's path years ago, disguised as the swordsmaster, he holds on to the hope that Guy has contributed something to turn Liam into a total loser. The guide is angry, to say the least. He cannot imagine that things aren't going the way he wishes. Meanwhile, the citizens start saying good things about their lord. They enter into a bar where they discuss how Liam had been able to capture pirates and even get several goods from the pirates he had captured. He is indeed way different from his father, and the way he rules suits them a lot. However, there is someone in that same bar that isn't excited about Liam. That person is Yasushi, a fraud through and through. He complains about his student with all his might. The attendant, seeing how frustrated he sounds, tries to ask him what is wrong. He reveals that no matter how much he ensures that his student doesn't understand swordsmanship, the boy keeps getting good. The woman can't understand why he is angry that his student is good. For every teacher, this should be a good thing. Well, not for a fraud who calls himself a teacher. He complains that at his best, he is nothing but a third-class, maybe second-ass swordsman, but to his shock, Liam is slowly getting to first class. This could mean two things. Either Liam has clocked him and is just pretending, or Liam hasn't clocked him but will soon. No matter the possibility, it still means doom for him. The guide comes inside to see feedback. Nothing works according to his plans either. He had sent Liam a bad teacher, but Liam's life is an irony of what he wants. As they both lament, Liam is at home practicing his sword. He cuts several trees at once, and he is excited. He knows he has gotten better. But the fool still thinks Yasushi is way better than him. He speaks to Amagi to know if he has the same speed as Yasushi, but Amagi sees no difference. Knowing good things do not just happen to him. He doesn't want to waste his life. He thinks about his life again. He was reincarnated as a son to parents who left him with loads of debts, but now he is a good swordsman. He has started paying off some of his debts, and things are going well for him. To him, all this is because of the guide. He appreciates the guide, but his gratitude only brings the guide a load of heartache. As a creature who only lives on misfortune, gratitude is a poison to him. He feels like dying, and he looks around for anyone that he could get negative energy from. Thankfully, Yasushi's negative energy is available for him to live on. It is not enough for him, and he really needs Liam to fail. He consoles himself that the best time a person fails is when the person is at the verge of success. So he would wait until Liam is almost successful, so that the misfortune he will get will be much. At the castle, Amagi comes to inform Liam that the Imperial Army are thinking of disposing of their old weapons. Since they need second-hand weapons, it will be best to buy from the Imperial Army. The deal seems nice to Liam, but it has a condition. A condition that may be the downfall the guide wants. The condition is that he has to take some of the Imperial Armies too as a part of the exchange. Getting stupid soldiers is bad for him, but Amagi advises that these soldiers are educated and they will be good. So he proceeds with the deal. The guide watches, hoping that the soldiers will rebel against him when they come, and it will be his greatest downfall. Fingers crossed to see what will happen. The next day, Yasushi wakes up with a severe hangover. He regrets drinking, but he doesn't have enough time to process his regret when Niece comes to visit him. She has her own reasons for coming. She wants to know about Liam, so she can pitch her crazy weapons to him. On the other hand, Yasushi assumes she visited him because she likes him, and he looks good. I really hope he looks at the mirror. Their conversation ranges from delusions to stupidity. She eventually asks him what could be Liam's fetish. What is that thing that if she does around Liam, even if he isn't interested in her weapon, he will buy that weapon? However, she isn't straightforward with him. He assumes that she is asking him what he wants in a woman. He tries to dodge the conversation so he won't tell her his fetish, but she is very persistent. He assumes she loves him a lot and can't understand what it means not to be around him, so he spills. He tells her how he likes his skirts, short and revealing, that he likes flashy underwear. He enjoys seeing tight suits and even the type of stockings he loves for her. She assumes he is telling her about Liam, so she takes the suggestion and sets out to see Liam. Looking all glammed and glamorous, with her tight and short skirts that reveal what is under. Her presence doesn't even appeal to him. She barely even looks as good as a me, so why will he like her? She tries to shake all she had brought before even pitching, but he commands her to go straight to her pitch. She tells him about the weapons, but he refuses to buy. He had just bought them from the Imperial Army. She is angry that the third weapon is still working against her. She begs him to at least buy from her. She starts shaking everything. Instead of getting excited at what she is shaking, he is getting annoyed. He recalls that in his past life, his wife also had those kinds of underwear. He didn't wear them at night to him, which means she probably wore them to meet the man she was cheating with. His expression changes. She assumes it is because he likes it. But no, what he is seeing is actually traumatizing, and he hates the sight. Although Nice sells worse weapons, you can't deny her persistence, since she insists he must buy and her sights irritate him. He decides to buy so she can leave. He asks Amagi if they have the funds, and fortunately for her, Amagi advises that they have the money and it wouldn't be a waste, so they should buy. She is so excited that she falls down with her entire body exposed as she rushes out of the castle. As she leaves, she calls her colleague at work. He brags that Liam had bought from her because she looked so good and Liam couldn't even take his eyes off her body. Brian overhears this conversation, angry that his boss could fall for just body. On the other hand, Yasushi overhears her and he is angry. He is the one with that fetish and he is angry that those fetishes were used on Liam, who enjoyed it instead of him. This Liam they are all concerned about is laying on Amagi's legs, enjoying the kingly pleasure that he really wants. And so ends our episode today. To watch more episodes, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button. Soon after, Neas delivers Liam all 300 of the battleships she forced him to order from her. At the same time, the battleships Liam brought from the Imperial Army also arrive. Amagi gets a receipt from the Imperial Army via quantum teleportation, and she asks Liam for his signature on the receipt by repeating the word quantum several times. So Liam jokingly places his thumb finger on her melons, stating it will be his quantum thumbprint. Got him. Anyway, Yasushi is chilling inside his home, wondering how he's going to take revenge on Liam for snatching Nas away from him every single time. He recalls Nias's plot, regretting the fact that Nas wasted her precious treasures on that doll-obsessed brat. He can only imagine what Liam must have done to poor innocent Nas and vows to make Liam pay for everything. As his anger builds up, the guide reveals himself to have been watching and devouring all of Yasushi's negative emotions. The guide cannot wait to see what Nas's anger will lead to, and can only hope that this anger will lead to Liam's eventual downfall. So the guide places his trust in this con man and leaves for another realm, looking for more negative emotion. Nas brings Liam to the battleship she made to show it around to him. Liam doesn't expect anything luxurious or at all stylish. He doesn't expect anything at all from this incompetent woman. But the interior still disappoints him. Nas explains that luxurious interiors are just for decoration and hold no real value in war. But Liam doesn't care. He wants decoration. Nas can't change Liam's mind, and she isn't going to add any fancy interiors. So, they both agree to disagree and move on to the next topic about how to use this ship. Nas briefs Liam on the instructions for how to ride the ship, including how much power to use at the beginning, and how frequently he needs to change the fuel. She also tries to make him buy a loyalty card, saying he'll get a discount on maintenance fees if he does so, but Liam isn't interested in it. Nas moves on and shows Liam the throne of this battleship, which still has a protective film on it. She gets eager to tear off the protective film and keeps pushing to close the deal, trying to entice him with her body, and tells him to just go ahead and sign the receipt. She even gives him the option to thumbprint on her melons. But that just leaves Liam disappointed, leaving Liam wondering if this guy is gay or something. Liam just wants to get it over with, so he agrees to sign the receipt. But Nas, still not satisfied, asks Liam for a favor. She wants the pirate ships Liam seized the other day, but Liam refuses, stating he plans to incorporate those ships into his fleet. Nas still keeps on insisting like a greedy bee, so Amagi steps in, suggesting that they give Nas some of the pirate ships and in exchange, make her modify and fix the rest of the ships for them. Liam loves the idea, since all of the pirate ships are in complete wreck. And Nas also agrees, revealing that the only reason she wants to get her hands on the pirate ships is because she wants to see what kind of technology the pirate ships use. Apparently, the technology is unknown, and the equipment comes from outside the Empire, and that's why Nas wants to study it and use the technology on her own models. But before closing the deal, Liam visits the pirate ships first, along with Amagi and Nas, entering one that is not in a total wreck. And he can immediately notice the difference between the design and the interface. The ship literally has a helm like a classic pirate ship, and Liam loves it so much that he wants to put it on his own battleship. Nas the normie goes into a detailed explanation of why this is a bad idea, but Liam shuts her up, being a man of culture, and makes it clear that if he wants it, he is going to have it regardless of whether it's useless or not. Nas ignores Liam and starts exploring the room, nerding out every time she sees something new. Meanwhile, Liam notices a tiny glowing dog heading to another room, so he follows it along with Amagi, and it eventually leads him to a navigation room. His footsteps trigger a mechanism on the ground below, and it displays the ship's trajectories up until now. Amagi analyzes the trajectory and realizes that this ship has been ravaging the entire Empire. But what interests him more is that the ship always ends up at one of the warp gates in the border area. Apparently, this area is a lawless zone outside the Empire's control, and also happens to be the front line of a war zone between the Empire and another country. Liam realizes that this warp gate must lead to the pirates' hideout, and once Amagi analyzes the coordinates, she figures out where the secret pirate base is. She goes into a scientific explanation about how difficult it is to reach the area, stating how abnormal its orbital radius is and how challenging it would be to travel there. But Liam doesn't bother understanding any of it. He is more focused on what the hideout might hold for him. He suspects the place is a treasure island, where the pirates sneak around regularly to store their greatest treasures. Although Liam is being delusional, Amagi lets him decide what to do with this information, and he excitedly declares that their fleet will immediately go on a treasure hunt. Soon after, Gawaz gets the news that Liam has started an attack, and has already defeated some of his underlings at the front line. He brings the underlings before him, deciding to punish them for tainting the pirate name by being defeated by a trash can. Before dealing with these losers, Gawaz commands his subordinates to bring him Liam's head, sending everyone to the battlefield and deploys all of his ships. Liam, along with his fleet, heads to the warp gate that leads to the pirates' hideout, but they are not allowed to use the gate because there's an apparent toll fee that needs to be paid to the Empire. The officer handling the warp gate connects with Liam, explaining that since the gate covers a huge distance and Liam intends to warp 7,000 ships, it will require a lot of money. Liam promises to pay later once he's done, but the officer doesn't trust his credibility, so Liam asks Amagi to find him someone credible. But sadly, they have no connections. Liam explains the situation to the officer again, telling him that he intends to pick a fight with the pirates, but that only makes the officer more unwilling to allow it, since Liam cannot even guarantee a safe return, let alone the due payment. Liam hasn't brought any fund, and it took him several days to come here, so he cannot just go back. So Liam demands the officer to let him speak to his manager. Unfortunately for him, the officer is the highest ranking person here. So Liam just throws a tantrum and ends the call. He comes up with an idea and decides to meet the officer face to face to negotiate a deal, while he keeps trying to see how he can convince them at the Rap Gate to allow him into the Harmonia Gate without the gate fee. Goaz and his spaceship arrive at the Harmonia Gate. He has all his connections at that gate, and despite being the villain in this situation, he doesn't have to beg anyone to let him in. Indeed, the ones with the money run the world. He calls the rapper, and the person he knows there greets him excitedly, asking him where he's going from the Harmonia Gate. He reveals that he is going to the Domos Gate. The Domos Gate leads to nothing. Everyone knows there is barely anything for a villain like Goaz to gain in that city. The man asks what he wants to do in a wasteland. What's the man's business, though? Goaz shares the same opinion as I do here. He asks the man what concern it is of his, and states that since he has the money, he should be allowed to enter without issue. He pays immediately. Meanwhile, Liam arrives at the Rap Gate physically, hoping that he can use his negotiating skills to gain entrance. He asks to enter, and the man says there is no issue. He is excited until the man cuts him short by asking for his gate fee. Liam first tries to brag that he is a noble and can get them the money, but the attendant isn't fazed by his weak boasting. When he sees that boasting doesn't work, he becomes humble, begging the attendant to please let him in, but the attendant doesn't care. He adds lies to his drama by bowing in tears, saying he wants to see his sick mother and the trip is necessary. See your sick mother with this huge number of ships? Your mother must need ships to recover. Seeing that his lies don't work, he turns and says he wants his mother to see his fleets before she dies. Well, the man tells him to return, get the money, and come back, if indeed his mother is that important. The man receives a call regarding Goaz's passage, so he leaves to deal with other things. Liam is angry that his negotiating skills are no longer working. He walks around the place and sees the dog again. He follows the dog. At the Rap Room, they see Goaz's passage. Knowing that Liam's ship is also in the waiting room, they realize the clash isn't going to be a gentle one. They were the ones in the wrong since they received payment from a pirate without knowing where he was going. So, they decide to turn a blind eye. Everyone working there goes on a break, so that when the clash happens, it will seem as though they weren't in attendance. After they all leave the room, Liam finds himself there. He sees it's a Rap Gate and there's a pirate ship around Harmonia Gate. He assumes the attendant had given him passage, and even told everyone to leave so no one would know he gave him passage without payment. Looking at the screen again, he sees the Raps moving in opposite directions. He assumes it was a mistake on the part of the attendant and sits down to correct. This spoils Goaz's movement, but since his trip continues, he doesn't see any issue. Suddenly, Amagi calls Liam to return. When he gets back, she tells him they've gotten a letter of credibility, not from a noble, but from Nas, since they've bought a lot from her. Well, one good turn surely deserves another. He happily appreciates her and comments that the officers were ready to bend for them. But now that they have the letter, it will be easy for them to enter. He commands Amagi to launch into the wormhole, and she does as commanded. Their trip to Harmonia Gate begin, and fortunately for them, Goaz and his people had left their base, so they will be caught unaware. On the other hand, Goaz becomes impatient. He is meant to reach Domos Gate within 30 minutes, but the journey has been going on for a while, and he hasn't gotten there. He asks his rider, who is also concerned, but they see a gate in front of them and assume it is their destination. Since they didn't know about Liam's tweak to the wormhole, they enter the gate. When they get there, they see red everywhere. Several spaceships are there, ready to launch and fight them. They realize they are in a danger zone as they have entered the Imperial Army zone. While it is doomed for them, it is fortunate for Liam. He eventually arrives at his destination, and while Amagi wants to check their coordinates, he doesn't need that. He can see the several pirate ships and knows that is the treasure island they've been looking for. Amagi looks further and sees that none of the spaceships are activated, meaning they aren't ready for war and aren't prepared. Liam decides to take this opportunity to attack them unaware. He tells Amagi to launch the ships. She releases the other spaceship to attack while he enters his own spaceship, named Avid. Within a few seconds, he launches several attacks at the island. He uses his rocket punch to destroy all of their ships, and with his Avid crush, he crushes them. All this goes on without Goaz knowing what is happening to his island. In fact, it's even unsure what he is going through on the Imperial Army Island where he has found himself. Liam sets the spaceship on fire. Amagi comes to report to him that all the spaceships have been set on fire. But that isn't enough for him. He is there for the treasures on the island, and that is what he will take. He tells Amagi to release the mobile knights. She does, as commanded, and all the mobile knights target the rock-like island in front of them. He looks from his ship, excited to hunt treasures. I hope he finds gold, since gold is his favorite treasure. It is unsure how Goaz will react to this hit, but I can assure you that there are exciting times ahead. Subscribe here to see the next. Then we see Christina's return to the palace, where her family welcomes her. She tells them that she has successfully completed the mission of expelling the space pirates, and her family thanks her for bringing peace to the kingdom. Then, her sister Rowan approaches her and tells her that she wants to become a skilled knight like her. Christina tells her that she is still young and will become even better than her when she grows up, promising to teach her swordsmanship as well. Suddenly, a very strong attack occurs from the pirate army, and they wonder how the pirates reached them, as the Unified Federation is supposed to protect them. Then, they completely destroy the planet and kidnap Christina, escaping with her. They take her and imprison her with many other girls. Christina tries to calm them down, assuring them that they will get out of there and that the resistance forces must be planning a rescue operation. Then, the pirate leader enters, and Christina angrily tells him to release all the girls and that she will stay with him because they are innocent. He tells her that they will all become his pets and that he is not thinking of killing any of them, but he has decided to grant part of her request and will release only one girl. He tells her to choose one of them or he will retract his decision. Christina cries because she doesn't know who to choose, as everyone is important to her and she wants them all to be released. However, Christina chooses one of the girls, thinking that the pirate leader will actually release her. But he takes the chosen girl to conduct experiments on her. Then, the evil doctor dissects her, and Christina screams for him to stop, fainting. When she wakes up, she finds the pirate leader with the girl who underwent the experiments, but she looks different, like a monster. Christina asks him what this is and why they are doing these monstrous things. He tells her that he enjoys it and cannot stop, and that she is next. He takes her and ties her to a chair. Christina cries and begs him to stop, saying she will do anything he wants. The doctor asks him what he wants him to do to her. The leader, Guawaz, tells him to start by removing her eyes and implanting them in the palms of her hands. Then the doctor begins to carry out the order. When he finishes, we see Christina, who looks terrifying, with her eyes placed in her hands. Christina asks him to kill her immediately instead of this torture. He tells her that he cannot do that because she is the captain's favorite. Then, suddenly, an attack occurs on the pirate planet, and we see that it is Liam. He eliminates most of the pirates. Liam and his companions begin searching for the treasure and the survivors. Then, Liam grabs the doctor and his associates and asks him to hand over the treasure and the girls as well. The doctor tells him that he doesn't know what he is talking about. Liam tells him that he will kill him if he doesn't confess. The doctor tells him that those girls are the captain's pets. Liam is surprised by the statement, as if he is talking about a dog or a cat. The doctor tells him that it is possible to transform any of those girls into any creature he wants. Then the doctor takes him to the lab, and when Liam and his soldiers see the girls and what has been done to them, they are shocked. Liam immediately kills the doctor. He approaches Christina, and she tells him that she is not his enemy, and that the doctor is the one who did this to her. Liam introduces himself, saying that he has become the leader of this place. Christina tells him to save them from here, and Liam agrees, ordering his soldiers to free everyone in the lab. Christina cries out and begs him to kill her because she sees no point in living anymore. Liam refuses and leaves, telling his friend that it might be possible to regenerate the bodies of those girls from scratch, but they will need to use some elixir and require specialized and advanced doctors, which will cost them exorbitant amounts. Liam tells him that he does not agree because the girl only asked him to save them, and that is all he will do. Then Amagi informs him over the phone that they have found treasure, and Liam becomes very excited. Then we see the guide searching for negative emotions as usual. We then see the boy preparing his food with passion, but when he eats it, he finds it tastes very bad. The guide rejoices in the bad feeling that befell the boy. Then we return to Liam and Amagi, and Nias enters, telling him that she is very happy that he attacked the pirate headquarters and seized it, and that he now has the ability to buy more warships. Liam refuses, which makes Nias very sad, and she begs him. Liam retracts his refusal and asks Amagi if he can buy warships. Amagi examines the budget and tells him that he can buy a maximum of 5,000 ships. Nias is very happy and leaves immediately, and Liam is horrified by that number. Then, Liam goes out to tell Nias that he will not buy all those ships and meets Master Yasushi on his way, who asks him to go out for training together. They go out, and the training begins. Then, Master Yasushi intensifies the training and launches many balls, and Liam cannot block them all with a single sword. Liam decides to use magic and creates a protective wall around himself, blocking all the balls and destroying all the targets. The master is surprised by Liam's power and leaves, telling him that he has nothing more to teach him from now on. So Liam has become a master. Yasushi advises him to go and spread the flash style in the universe, as he has become proficient in it. Liam is very excited and thanks the guide who was the reason for his reincarnation in this world and for achieving many accomplishments in it. However, the guide becomes angry because Liam directed positive feelings towards him, as he always loves negative feelings only, and he threatens him. Thus ends our episode today of this anime. To watch more episodes, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Liam now faces a new problem. He arrived in the world wanting to be an evil overlord, but he hasn't done a damn thing the entire time he's been there. Or at least nothing truly evil. To be an evil lord, he must prioritize 3 things: power, money, and, of course, women. These are the stereotypes of all generic villains. Power, one could say, he already has. After all, he already wields a sword and commands a large armed fleet with a super badass robot. Now, all that's left is money and women. Miyagi tells him that some benefactor from some company has come to see him. He lets him in, and Sir Thomas enters with a very special shipment for Liam. First, he greets him and congratulates him on kicking the space pirates' asses. Liam tells him to set aside the flattery and show him the good stuff. Thomas obeys and displays a shipment of gold bars. This only excites Liam because, as we recall, gold there is the cheapest thing you can find. It's like copper, only they use it more for appliances, meaning it's even more useless. Thomas also wants to ask him a favor. Since trading through space is very difficult because it's full of space pirates, he asks Liam to lend him some ships from his fleet to escort his vessels. Miyagi tells Liam that the battleships are loaded and ready for whatever he needs, and besides, his troops can gain experience by going on missions. Liam agrees to lend him a part of his fleet, but in exchange, wants more gold. Idiot, Thomas says, but he accepts delighted. On their way back to where Thomas came from, they observe how much the Fifth Field's domains have prospered. Despite his young age, Liam has managed to lead his people forward, which is extremely rare for any governor you can think of. What they don't understand is why the guy charges in gold. They don't get it, and they don't care. It works out better for him because he sells it to the junk dealer, and for some reason that makes him happy. Meanwhile, Liam kisses his gold, which the butler also doesn't understand. Liam tells him it's because gold is the new symbol of status and power, so he asks Miyagi to take all the gold and make a huge bath out of it. The butler now understands what he wants it for. Gold is very hygienic and, by God, hypoallergenic, which makes it a great material for a bath. Liam says no, that's not the reason, but it doesn't matter. He's happy to have received his first bribe, the pursuit of riches and women. With this, he can cross power and being rich off his list. Now he just needs women. It's time to build a harem of old women to fulfill all his dirty foot fantasies. So, he orders a huge bath to be built, which he calls the Hall of Virility, which, we agree, is the most virgin-sounding thing we've ever heard. He explains to May and his butler, I don't know if this guy has a name, but for now we'll baptize him Alfred Chan, that he's going to fill his enormous bathtub with alcohol and hang meat from the ceiling and force-feed it to his women. May interrupts his plans, and Liam asks him not to try and stop him. It's what his evil self desires, and it will be fulfilled no matter the cost. May tells him that after the tremendous loot they got from the pirates, his bath costs peanuts. More than anything, he wanted to warn him that if he fills the place with alcohol, the vapor would be toxic and could be a health problem, not to mention it's flammable. Liam says they'll use a softer alcohol then, but still, Miyagi doesn't think it's a good idea to drink alcohol where one is bathing. How disgusting. So Liam tells him he'll put purifiers to clean it. Miyagi tells him that if he purifies the alcohol, then only water will remain. It would just become a common swimming pool. Alfred advises against hanging meat, calling it unhygienic. He asks if Liam plans to use raw or cooked meat. Cooked meat, he explains, would make the place look like a fried pork rind stand, while raw meat would resemble Don Yui's butcher shop. Liam dislikes both options, so they propose hanging platters of prepared meat instead. It'll look like a buffet, but it's an improvement. Liam is losing enthusiasm for the idea and agrees to drop it. However, he won't be deterred from getting old women, and declares that nothing they say will stop him. May notes it's about time, and Alfred adds that as a leader of a house, it's normal for him to have a harem. In fact, it's concerning that it took him so long to build one. Alfred even suspected Liam might blow the whistle, or at least had an interest in May. Luckily, he calmed down a bit when he fell into Nias's traps of seduction. Liam denies this, claiming he only bought her wares out of pity and was never overcome by lust. The harem selection. Since he has his companion's blessing, Liam begins selecting women. Alfred asks how many women he wants. Liam thinks 10 sounds good, but as an evil overlord he must be excessive, so he requests 100. Alfred is surprised and says 100 is too few. He has 150 at his own house. May agrees, stating she had already gathered 10,000 candidates and was going to give him at least 1,000. Liam tells them to stop messing around. That's a lot. He asks them to be reasonable. How long will it take him to animate them? Alfred says that doesn't matter. The important thing is for him to start trying women, to see which one suits him best. Liam says the reason he's taken so long is because he has Miyagi, but even she warns him that she can't have children as she's a newer model. Liam clarifies he meant that she meets all his demands in a woman. Alfred insists he at least get a real woman to put his mind at ease. He just wants Liam to stop whipping the doll against the wall for a bit and whip a real one instead. They ask him to just select the ones he likes, so they can be summoned to the castle. Liam asks if it's as easy as buying on Amazon. They explain that he's the damn ruler of a planet. It's almost literal that any girl would be happy to please him and raise her status. The quest for a wicked challenge. This doesn't sit well with Liam. He wants resistance, a challenge. He wants them to say no and him to say yes. He wants to feel evil, and because he was cheated on in his past life, he wants to reject all those who want to be with him and, incidentally, take one who is married to another to be an NTR, netarar, a Japanese subgenre where someone's partner is seduced or stolen. So he goes out into his city to deliver an evil monologue. As he's always in his palace, he doesn't know his cities or even their culture, but he still believes everyone there belongs to him. He goes out into the street to look for women for his harem. He finds a very beautiful young lady and puts on his handsome mode like Machumika Roma's. He approaches her and asks her out. Ooh, this kid has collagen, the girl says. She's happy with the idea and says yes, but then a pink snot starts coming out of her nose. Gross. It disgusts Liam and Miyagi. Of course, the boy is more shocked to see that and doesn't understand why everyone around him has a colored snot inflating in their nose. It turns out these things are the latest fashion in his kingdom and are called nasal balloons. Since it's something very informal, no one uses it in the castle. However, it's very popular among women because they think it's kawaii, like Turner writes in Labudus. Liam is annoyed because it makes people look silly. Miyagi says if he doesn't want to use it, she can wear one for him, but Liam forbids her from ever wearing one. He then orders those things to be forbidden forever. Tough luck, they're screwed. Liam is disappointed with his planet's culture. It's nothing like the sci-fi novels he imagined. He expected to see girls showing a lot of unnecessary skin, but he only found colorful snot. To make matters worse, people wear full swimsuits at the beaches. What a damn shame. Alfred tells him that at least it 100% protects them from UV rays. Yes, but Liam complains because it also protects them from his lust. The boy isn't going to allow his world's culture to go to hell like that, so he decides to focus on improving it. Miyagi doesn't understand the need. The culture is developing normally, but Liam doesn't like how it's developing. So he summons models and designers, the best in the entire empire. Miyagi tells him, "Oh dear, I don't think that's possible, young master. Apparently that's very expensive, and we can't afford it now." To sign the best model in the empire, they'd have to sell the entire Liam says it's fine. He'll settle for just the most beautiful women in his empire to paint them to his liking. But Miyagi tells him he already has that. The most attractive women in the empire already work at the castle. Liam realizes this is true, but he doesn't think it's right to take advantage of the staff. However, Miyagi tells him that's not a problem. It doesn't break any laws. Everyone who agrees to work in the castle does so with that in mind. Even for her, it would be a huge status boost. Liam asks if he should have gone after them from the beginning, but to play the evil lord a bit and disguise his true feelings, he says, "Yes, absolutely. That's what I planned to do from the start, but I got distracted with Ami." Alfred continues to beg him to stop jerking off the robot and find a real woman instead. Liam insists it's not fun to go after those women and asks if he'd prefer him to order men. Liam feels frustrated. He didn't think being an evil lord would be so exhausting. Now he just wants to splurge money on trivial things. He'll worry about the rest later. Meanwhile, we see Christiana awake in a recovery dome. She looks at her hand, and yes, she sees her hand. Before, she couldn't see her hand because her eye was in her hand. Then a doctor enters and, damn, what was Liam talking about when he said he didn't like fashion? I mean, culture and medical development are going well. The doctor is practically working in her underwear. She explains to Christiana that they recreated her body with regenerative medicine. Christiana can't believe what she sees. Her body is back to normal. She thinks she's dreaming and that it's a beautiful dream before she passes on to the other world. The doctor tells her it's not a dream, that they basically used a mythical elixir on her. But Christiana doesn't understand why they spent something so valuable. She thinks it's all a mistake because she has no way to pay them back. She lost her job, her family, her status, and basically her entire world. The doctor tells her that no one is charging her, that all the monster buffoos they had are in treatment, all by order of the great Lord Banfield. But she does point out that the Lord has asked for a favor in return. Christiana realizes that the Lord was the boy who saved her after so many decades trapped as a monster. Now that boy becomes her god. If you've made it this far in the video, don't forget to write the word exquisite in the comment box. A billion thanks, and see you in the next one. We move to his tavern, where a regular customer arrives and orders his usual drink, also asking for a round for the staff. The waitress is surprised by his excessive generosity today and greets him with a wave. The customer then tells them he has become a manager and is in dire need of employees. The waitress informs him while serving his order that everyone is struggling with a staff shortage. The customer then asks them if he has found a treasure from pirates, right? And he plans to use that to develop the entire city, which makes the employee happy. The old man wishes they could take a break, but the waitress tells him that he comes here to take a break. Meanwhile, the guide is sitting behind them, listening to their conversation and is very angry, because this land should be the most impoverished and burdened with debt. So why is it developing like this? He questions whether this is a mistake in his plan and denies the existence of this. Then we shift to one of Liam's fleets, where a commander and his deputy praise Liam for being brave and a true prince, and they feel very lucky to work with him. The guide also listens to them and believes these soldiers will turn against him over time. However, they all swear loyalty to him, and he senses there is a mistake somewhere. Next, we move to Yosashi, who is in complete relaxation thanks to Liam's reward for him. He gets angry when he sees Liam's recognition on television, which is due to Liam teaching him the flash technique, causing great fear in Yosashi. He thinks he has to escape now, which also angers the guide. Then we transition to Guaz's fleet, where Guaz feels relieved to have successfully escaped. He asks what remaining ships they have, and his deputy informs him there are 30,000 ships left, while the 2,000 ships they used as bait have been consumed entirely by the Imperial fleet. However, Guaz is unconcerned about this because they are basically war prisoners and sacrifices must be made. Gua wonders how they ended up escaping this place and how they fell into the middle of the Imperial fleet training area. It is expected that they are heading to the Banfield province. The deputy thinks they should exit through the Domus Gate, but there's a possibility that Deutz may have changed its settings. Guaz vows to teach the pirates a lesson about betrayal and that he will tear them apart. Then the guide appeared to Guaz and asked if he was directing his anger at the wrong person. Guaz questions the guide about who he is, and after the guide answers with his name, Guaz is asked to remember who he was supposed to fight against and to direct his anger. The guide casts a spell on him that makes him remember who he should be fighting and causes Guaz to think only of Liam, believing he needs to attack Banfield. He directs the ships towards Kenzie Island, insisting they will make his enemies suffer, and once he finishes supplying the ships, their destination will be Banfield, where he will destroy everything. The guide agrees that this is correct and tells him to go pursue that damned one with his huge fleet and make Liam suffer negative emotions. Then he disappears. Next we move to Liam, who is eating, served by all his servants, each with a different task. Then Amagi asks Liam if he is enjoying the food. But the problem Liam has is not tasting, but the food itself. He wonders about being the prince of evildoers. Amagi believes she is offering him a mountain of food, but Liam doesn't care about that since he won't eat it all and will feel guilty for wasting it. Amagi offers to chat with him while he works with the officials, but Liam refuses this idea because he prefers not to talk during meals. Amagi suggests bringing him women, but Liam asks if she agrees with this. She confirms that she does agree and asks again if he needs them now. Liam tells her he does not want another woman, but Amagi doesn't know he has a woman now, so he doesn't want another. Liam tells Amagi that she is with him, yet Amagi clarifies that she is not a woman. She is an artificial intelligence and cannot give him an heir. But Liam asks her again about this. Amagi responds once more that she doesn't understand this because she is an AI and doesn't know about consent or not, but what matters to her is that Liam is completely happy. Then she asks if he wants her to call some women for him. However, Liam already has plenty of them, and she asks if he considers the robots he has as women. But Liam requests her not to ask this, as if it were like asking whether bananas should be considered a snack. Then she tells him that Brian will lament if he doesn't bring beautiful women here. But Liam feels that Brian doesn't understand men's dreams, and that the women who welcome that won't arouse his desire. Amagi sees that things have gotten complicated. Then Liam goes to his room, planning to squeeze high taxes and fill his pockets like an evil prince. But drowning in debt means his situation is similar to his previous life. Amagi asks Liam what he wants to achieve as an evil prince. Liam will raise taxes and make the public suffer. Amagi thinks this will increase their income, but it will lead to long-term losses in general. Hence, she doesn't recommend doing this. However, they could examine the people of Banfield City and raise taxes if needed. But Liam doesn't want to hear such mature ideas and wants to misuse his power and become a tyrant. Amagi reminds him that if this happens, it will affect their ability to repay debts. Then Liam remembers how he suffered from debt collectors in his previous life. Amagi asks Liam if he is unhappy with this life, and she will do her utmost to solve these problems. But Liam's management of his land is going well. Despite his huge debts, he is making progress in repayment. Even his poor parents left on their own, and he mastered the flash technique and obtained the pirate's treasure, and money and power are steadily flowing towards him. But most importantly, Amagi is by his side. And how could he not be satisfied with life? This is his biggest reason, and that's why he wants to use this perfect opportunity to achieve his ambitions, to immerse himself in his power as an evil prince, and to celebrate his good fortune in this world. However, Amagi doesn't understand these manly things and tells him for the third time that she is an AI, and it's hard for her to grasp the concepts of men, but she will assist him in anything he desires. Then we shift to Liam's cleaning room, where the robots continue cleaning. One robot is talking to them about finishing their tasks quickly for Mr. Liam, because they possess the highest quality systems. Then a group of robots gathers, Shirani, Arshima, and Shiomi. Shirani tells them that she tried to change her hairstyle to Arshima so that Liam wouldn't inspect her, but Liam discovered her, which surprised them despite them having the same body and being very identical. But Shirani tells them that the video of that moment is her personal treasure, so she put a protection on it and saved it. However, the other two, Artemi and Shiomi, objected, saying they would do the same until Liam calls their names. But Amagi appeared to them and told them she wouldn't allow this. However, Shironi doesn't see this as something that would annoy Liam. Then, Amagi told her she would confiscate that video to give to Liam, and asked her what she was thinking. Was she joking with Liam and not to leave any data behind? Then, Amagi walked away, but Shiomi called out to her and asked if it was appropriate to be intimate with Liam when she is also, after all, an AI. But Amagi entirely rejected this, stating she does this because it's Liam's orders. Then, she left. But none of the three understood Amagi's behavior. Then we moved to Liam's office, where he came to Brian and told him about the bad news, which is that the pirates have declared war on them, and a large number of pirate ships are gathering at the edge of the chaos system. Liam thinks that taking the time to declare war is only fair behavior towards a group of pirates. Amagi believes they are giving them time to feel scared because they invaded the pirate treasure island, and if this is revenge, they won't just settle for killing them. Liam now understands that this person's fleet captain enjoys torturing families and mutilating their bodies, which is highly probable. Amagi sees that he has great power in his fleet, so he declared war on them. Brian will hold a meeting with the officials and the troops as well. Then Brian gathered the officials and told them that the pirate leader is Guaz and he wants money, women, and men with good looks to avoid an attack on them, which enraged Liam. He told himself that he is very evil, and Brian was surprised that Liam started to feel fear for Banfield. Then one of the officials suggested that they negotiate with the pirates and try to settle the matter peacefully. Then Liam asked, how strong are the pirates? Brian told him that they have 30,000 ships. Liam asked Amagi about the number of their ships, which is 5,000. But the head of the forces said that numbers aren't everything, and even if they surrendered, the pirates wouldn't leave them in peace. The official believes that increasing the damage on them is foolish in a battle they can't win, and they are waiting for reinforcements from the Empire. Then Liam started thinking deeply and discovered something strange, which is Guaz's bounty. It is not cheap, but it is also not enough to make someone rich right away. And this is not the kind of money someone risks facing 30,000 ships for. He would have a greater motive if the bounty were higher. Then Amagi asked to speak, and when he ordered her to go ahead, she told him that she used data from the pirate ships they seized the other day to estimate the enemy's strength and analyze them to conduct a combat simulation. Their chances of victory are only 3%, which surprised Brian, who then said if only the new 7th weapon Facto's weapon were ready. Liam asked if they had a new weapon, and Brian assured him they did, calling it the new Cyclone Destroyer. When Brian pronounced the name, time suddenly stopped, and Liam began to talk to them, but no one wanted to respond. Liam remembered that Nidita mentioned that time stopping was an event arranged in 90% of cases, but it actually stopped. Then the guide appeared to Liam because he wanted some of his time, but Liam rejected him because he had a big problem he wanted to solve now. However, the guide confessed to him that he was the one who led the pirates here and asked him if the city of Benfield was burdened with debts. Liam told him that because of these debts, he couldn't do what he wanted, and that's disappointing. For this reason, the guide summoned the pirates who hold great treasure, and if he defeats them, everything would be his. Liam had already seized pirate treasure, but it was just a small part, and if he defeats the leader Guaz, he will get a much larger treasure along with great honor. The guide arranged everything and did not embody himself as a noble from the beginning, because starting from the ground up and distinguishing himself would allow him to gain greater fame. Liam felt excited that the guide thought all this for him, and the guide told him this was little for him and wished him to accept it. He then disappeared, and Liam thanked him after he left for his reward. Then, Brian continued his speech, and Liam felt that he was mocking him, but Brian clarified that he was talking to him about the new destroyer weapon. However, Liam asked him to stop mentioning this name too much because it was confusing. Then Liam decided that he would destroy Guaz's pirates. But the head of the officials objected to this since they also had mercenaries and Benfield had none of the knights. But Liam got angry and told him that this is what needs to be done, and all that Guaz needs to do is silence and obey. This is a final decision. This part of our story comes to an end. To follow the rest of the story, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to stay updated. The guide, yet again, just like any other day, wanders in search of the negative emotions that are released in everyone's day-to-day life. Today he visits a highly busy croissant shop, where the limited edition papaya mango croissant is being sold. One girl in the line cannot wait for her turn, but everyone before her keeps buying only the papaya mango croissant, leaving her frustrated. Thinking the item will run out, in her mind, she begs the people in front to at least leave one croissant for her. But as they keep buying 2, 4, 6 croissants for themselves, she loses hope and breaks into tears. With only one person in front of her and 2 croissants left, she hopes that the person would be content with buying just one. But much to her shock, that person buys both croissants, shattering her dream of enjoying a nice, tasty meal in the afternoon. As she walks away in regret, disbelief, and disappointment, the guide gladly devours her negative emotions, calling it tasty. Just as the girl is about to leave, that's when the baker of the shop announces they have just baked more croissants for their customers, so she turns back, releasing positive emotions and annoying the guide, who didn't expect such a sudden turn of events. He gives up on this snack and decides to go for the main course, hopefully a Liam in ruin. Meanwhile, Brian gets on a call with Amagi and panics after learning that the space pirates have come to invade their planet. Amagi tells Brian to stop reacting as if they've already lost and assures him that Liam made the right choice by choosing to fight. According to her, there's only a 3.8% chance of Liam winning, but she'd rather have Liam take that than surrender to Go's terms. Because judging from Go's past history, if Go gets the upper hand, he will definitely wipe out Liam's planet. So, a 3.8% chance is obviously better than a 0% chance. Brian understands, but he still doesn't think Liam will be able to win, commenting that if only Liam was born 100 years ago, he would have had a much better chance of defeating his enemies. Meanwhile, Liam is confident that he'll win because he thinks he has the guide by his side. He imagines all the riches he will get from winning this war and is filled with positive emotions which the guide watching him from a distance truly despises. The guide at this point wants Liam to be captured by the pirates and turned into Go's personal play toy, because in that way when Liam is tortured every single day, the guide can get all the negative emotions from him he'd ever require. According to the guide's intel, Go's fleet equipment is just as good as the Imperial armies, and so he is strongly confident that Liam is going to lose here. He puts the blame on Liam, saying it's Liam's fault for putting his trust in a guy like him. The guide mocks Liam, calling him a fool for being just as naive as he was in his past life. The guide predicts that when Go captures Liam and tortures him, this idiot's gratitude toward the guide will turn into hatred. His smile will twist into scorn, and his spirit will finally break. This way, the guide will finally be able to feast on Liam's suffering. In any case, the guide cannot wait any longer for that tasty delicacy he's going to get served on a silver platter. The guide leaves and the scene shifts back to the battlefield where Go is. He declares that whoever captures Liam alive will be rewarded with double the bounty, and expresses how eager he is to turn Liam into his latest toy. Go's assistant asks if he has taken a liking to the boy, but Go explains that he's just looking for some new entertainment, revealing that he intends to torment Liam's people and turn them into monsters as well once the war is over. Meanwhile, Liam's subordinates, who at first were skeptical of his antics, have finally started to realize that their young lord is not playing around and actually has impressive political skills, not to mention how good he is with a sword. Liam learns about the bounty placed on his head and gets eager to take the pirates' treasure, hoping they'll approach him. But even after 3 long boring days, nothing significant happens except at the front lines where, according to the second in command, Liam's army is struggling due to the overwhelming number of pirates fighting against them. Liam is too bored to play chess or checkers and just wants to rush into the battlefield. But before he can give any orders, his communication device gets compromised, making it impossible to contact his fleet. At that moment, a large number of pirate ships appear above Liam's ship. And while everyone starts panicking, Liam remains calm, calling the enemy's plans stupid for splitting their forces and sending only a mere 500 ships to apprehend them. Amagi understands the enemy's goal, which is to break Liam's army's formation and create a real opening to attack, making it clear that these 500 ships sent by Go are just disposable pawns. Liam's subordinate reports that the 500 ships attacking them are not pirates, but soldiers who were forced to surrender to Go's after they lost. Although it's understandable that the Empire's soldiers would switch sides and comply with the pirates to survive, Amagi still doesn't think it's a good idea to show them mercy. Since they can no longer be trusted, Liam remains reluctant, but he still takes the initiative and wipes out all 500 ships. When Goaz gets the news, he becomes impressed, but focuses on the slight disorder created in Liam's fleet and takes this opportunity to charge directly with full force. As they push forward, Liam's fleet begins retreating, maintaining the same distance, and Ghost, thinking Liam is scared, orders his fleet to keep advancing when suddenly, the ships at the front explode, revealing that the entire space had been filled with mines hidden using magic. Ghost can't believe he fell for such a cheap trick. But regardless, he still has the numbers on his side, so he orders his fleet to keep charging through the mines. Liam learns of this, and also of the fact that the front lines of Ghost's fleet consist only of Empire soldiers, meaning only the disposable pawns are being sacrificed, not the real pirates. With the pirates closing in, Liam's subordinates focus on protecting Liam's ship with all they have, putting themselves in harm's way to shield their lord. But Liam doesn't want that. He doesn't want a single person under his command to be hurt. And after making that clear to everyone, he declares that he will crush all of the enemies right here, vowing that while he still breathes, he isn't going to allow a single ship to enter his planet. Deciding to get into his mobile knight, he promotes Amagi as second in command. Amagi, with quick battle strategy simulations, prepares to take control of the war, and so Liam leaves the rest to her, as she wishes him the best of luck. He cannot give up, not at this point. Since he has decided to fight the battle by himself, he enters his ship to go and fight. Amagi goes to captain the pirate ship because of his instruction that she should launch him. She tells the knights that they should launch the remaining ships, but they are skeptical about obeying her. Why should they allow a robot to control them when they are humans? She tries to explain to them that Liam is hell-bent on going to the war front. This leaves them with no other choice than to protect him. If they don't launch and back him up, he will be alone out there and will be killed. She tells them that her loyalty isn't to the kingdom or the people in it. Her loyalty is only to Liam, and she will do anything to protect him. Hearing this makes the knights have a change of heart, because they can't imagine that a doll has more loyalty than they do. They vow their lives to protect Liam and take control of all the pirates so they can fight. Amagi launches Liam's ship named Avid. Liam flies with all the reassurance he had gotten from the guide that the fight was settled and he would have no issues. He enters the warp, hoping to meet Go and his pirates off guard. However, once he enters the warp, they immediately receive a notification that someone has penetrated it, and they get ready for the fight too. He enters into the midst of their ships and brings out his weapons, from his sword to his gun to his pistol. He is sure he isn't going to lose the fight. As he fights with his life, the soldiers behind him also protect him with theirs. He assumes the war will be a walkover, but will it really end that way for him? I can't help but imagine the traumatizing way Go would treat him if he were captured. Unfortunately for Liam, all the bullets in his gun are finished. He is shocked because he didn't consider this when he proudly came out, but he knew there was no way his bullets would kill over 30,000 fleets. He tries to withdraw to solve that, but suddenly he gets hit. He realizes that someone has gotten closer to him, and indeed it is one of the enemies. He is glad that at least someone strong has come there to fight him. He brings out his sword and begins to fight. When he attacks, the knight realizes he isn't weak. He says Liam's swordsmanship is quite strong, and asks what academy he learned from. Liam proudly announces that he learned from the Way of the Flesh. The knight insists he has never heard of that skill before, which gets Liam angry. How dare you not know my boss? He claims it is the best skill, and says the knight isn't knowledgeable. However, the knight insists he has fought several people who learned from the best Mies, and if he doesn't know the Way of the Flesh, then it must be fake. To show the superiority of the Way of the Flesh, and his resolve to broadcast it, Liam hits the knight and the knight dies. After happily killing the man, he has a change of heart. It would have been better if he had let the man survive. That way, the man could spread the gospel of the Way of the Flesh, and everyone would know how strong he is. He eventually resolves that he will leave a few skilled swordsmen alive, letting them survive in near-death situations so they can proclaim his name across the world. Let's see how much this will work for him. Go and his pirates still do not believe he is strong. They wonder how a poor noble like him can have the skills and money to purchase so much ammunition to attack them. They keep calling him poor, and this keeps getting him angry. He screams that they should stop calling him poor, because if they continue, he will feel like killing them even more. He uses the Way of the Flesh several times to cut through all of the knights and survive. Suddenly, he gets a notification from the left side of his ship. That part has been destroyed. He realizes his ship isn't strong enough for the Way of the Flesh. That isn't his priority at the moment. So, he continues his fight. One of his enemies also comes to attack Avid, and he fights back. Suddenly, he starts losing the fight. The enemies are overwhelming, and since he is a one-man warrior, it is impossible for him to keep up. His knights in the ship are also scared that they cannot continue holding out. To make it worse, Amagi announces to them that their success rate has now reduced to 1.2% from 3.8%. Thankfully, Liam sees a new spaceship arriving to fight on his behalf. The rider in the spaceship is Christina, who is back from her trip, bigger, better, and stronger. Amagi also starts making plans to ensure they win the battle. She reaches out to both the 3rd and 7th weapon armies to buy more weapons from them so they can survive. Meanwhile, the battle becomes lighter with Christina's presence. She fights Ghost and his armies. I wouldn't just call it a fight, it is a fight of revenge for her, considering all they had done to her. She watches and claims. She doesn't want to kill them, but destroy them. She helps Liam in his war, but Liam isn't satisfied. He is the evil lord, and he should be the strongest anywhere he finds himself. He doesn't like the idea of someone else taking his glory. He immediately kits himself up with new armor. He takes armor with a punch and uses the rocket punch to break into Goa's region. Everyone looks at him in surprise. Christina looks at him in awe and exclaims that he is wonderful. I share the same sentiment with her. He is truly wonderful. Goa shakes in his ship. He can't believe that a single warlord has cleared his entire fleet. Amogi announces in their spaceship that their success rate has increased to 83% because Liam has broken through the ship. Does this mean he will win? This part of our story comes to an end. To follow the rest of the story, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to stay updated. Yeon continues defeating pirates. He now realizes his only advantage is their sheer numbers. None of them pose a challenge. Christiana watches him destroy pirates and is fascinated. The only thing that breaks her trance is a pirate attack, but she responds, destroying all pirates who try to attack her, laughing in a rather disturbing way. Her companions notice she's changed. She wasn't like this before, but now she harbors a deep resentment towards all pirates. And honestly, I understand him. Liam is fulfilling his dream. Now he's no longer the exploited office worker escaping debt collectors. Now he's the evil lord who destroys pirates to collect bounties and expand his evil empire. Amagi detects another fleet of robot pirates approaching Lian and puts him on alert. The pirates shoot at him, but Liam uses his magic shield, which he learned to create through his rigorous training. Rojo watches as their master confronts everyone, and Verde asks if he's scared of what he sees, because he is. He wonders if Leon would have lived a normal life if he hadn't been born a noble. He feels great pity for him. His parents abandoned him when the anime was just starting, leaving him only deaths and lands, a palace and infrastructure, but all in ruins. The boy made it flourish, and now he faces a pirate army for his people. They were expelled from the army for opposing the Empire's corruption, but now they are serving a master who risks everything for his followers. That's his real name, Leon. Leon finally reaches the flagship where he knows Goas is hiding. He attacks it with missiles, but the ships in front use a shield. Leon wants to jump to break through their defenses, but the shield stops him. Amagi notices this and orders all ships to attack the same point to break the shield and clear a path for their master. The ships get into position, aim, and attack at Amagi's signal. They manage to make a small hole that regenerates, and then they attack again, managing to destroy some ships that formed the shield, preventing it from regenerating. Liam tries to enter. The robots try to block his way, but Leon's soldiers defend him. Leon manages to penetrate their defenses. None of Goas's defenses manage to stop him, so it's time to honor that old pirate tradition. If the ship is attacked by a space robot, it's time to make a getaway. Goas orders his ships to shoot at Leon's robot, regardless of who gets caught in the crossfire. However, Leon reaches the flagship and begins firing his laser beam at it to prevent it from escaping. Goas runs to his escape pod, but Leon prevents him from advancing with all the damage he's caused to the ship. The rest of the soldiers join him on the ship's hull and ask if he's okay. Leon tells them he's 100% and that it's time to go look for the treasure. His commander warns him that it could be dangerous because the enemy might try to self-destruct and take them with them. Leon tells him that they've been trying to leave for a while now, and someone too cowardly to stay and fight wouldn't even think of self-destructing. So he activates his rocket fists, or rather, his rocket fists, and pulls out a ton of rocket fists from a portal, which crash into the ship and dismantle it enough to prevent any foolishness. Not to mention, they also take care of several pirates in the process. They put on their spacesuits and get out of their robots to enter the ship. Leon leads the squad, and his commander suggests he stay in the middle because it could be very dangerous. Leon tells him the enemy is hiding and orders them to shoot at a wall. His men shoot, and sure enough, there were 3 pirates wearing super cool suits that made them invisible. These suits are super expensive, which means a very good haul awaits them. In the hallway, they are ambushed by a group of pirates, ready to face them. They warn him that, although they are now mere pirates, in the past they were the guards of several nobles, so they know how to defend themselves. Leon walks past them and half draws his sword while the pirates stand still. As he passes them, he tells his men to hurry and follow him, and then the pirates are cut in two. A classic. Oh, what a great cliche. As they advance, they continue to encounter several pirates, but the soldiers eliminate them with great ease until they reach the control center. Everyone there is in a panic now that their captain has abandoned them, and their vice captain doesn't know what the hell to do. He tries not to go, but Liam's men shoot him with cold bullets. The vice captain begs to speak with Leon. The boy is curious and decides to listen to what he has to say. The pirate swears and hyper-swears that Goas was using him, and that he is just another one of his victims. He begs him to let him live, and assures him that he can show him where the treasure is. He doesn't know how to open it, but he does know. He tells him he can take him. Liam's commander warns him that this guy wasn't a victim, and no victim would have performed well enough to be promoted to vice captain. The pirate has no choice but to butter him up. He tells Liam he recognized him as soon as he boarded the ship and that his work is truly impressive, so he bows and swears eternal loyalty in exchange for his life. He says he led the pirates so he could be very useful in Liam's forces, but Liam lops off his head, literally. Yasushi can't believe the power this kid has and wonders where he learned it all. He wonders if Yasushi is truly one of the baddest of the bad. Liam starts to feel a pang in his chest and assumes it's because Liam is so grateful for all the help he's given him. That just won't do. Oh no, it won't. So he has no choice but to give Goas a super broken power so he can defeat Leon. Goas walks through the ship's corridors, thinking about how he's going to get out of this. He considers begging for his life, but knows Lion will turn him over to the Empire for the bounty, and then he'll be executed, so that's not really an option. Then, the guide's malevolent energy begins to surround him and enter through his mouth. The guide asks if he wants revenge on Leon. Then he will grant him the power to do so. He assures him that anything is better than being defeated there. Goas accepts, and then his body begins to transform and turns purple. Spikes pop out, and he gets super buff. Those sons of it. Mother! Now he has the necessary power to face Leon, no matter how good he is with a sword. The guide knows he's interfered too much this time, but he trusts that this will finish the job. He creates an interdimensional door and crosses it. Then a little dog of light forms. Liam's forces continue making their way through the ship, when once again he thinks he sees a cute little dog. Then he remembers his old friend, the one he had in his past life. He's one of the few friends he had who never betrayed him. I agree, bro. Dogs should be eternal. Leanne continues and finds a small golden box that Goaz left behind when he transformed. Leanne can't help but keep it because he loves gold, even though everyone else on the crew finds his taste for the galaxy's most common metal very strange. Then Leanne once again sees the little dog that guides him to a room. The door is closed, and he orders his men to open it with gunfire. The door falls, and on the other side there are a ton of antiques, like a museum. That doesn't impress Liam, because he knows the problem with antiques is that they can be faked, like the stuff from Temu your aunt used to buy to show off. But then he sees a katana that's truly amazing. Liam likes it and decides to keep it. An emergency call comes in. His men have encountered Goaz, and no matter how much they shoot him, it does nothing. They wonder if he's a cyborg, and if so, those modifications he made are on another level. He starts dishing out beatings, and tells them, "Bring me my katana." And at that moment, Leanne arrives and attacks him with his sword, but he's so tough that his sword is damaged. I'm talking about the old sword, the one that cuts soldiers in half, because the new sword can cut off Goaz's arm. Goaz continues attacking, but Leon cuts him as if he were nothing. He loves his new sword. It's as if the pirate were butter, and his sword were a hot knife. Goaz makes tentacles come out of his wrists, but they're useless because Leon cuts off one of his legs. The soldiers arrive, ready to protect their master, Liam. Then Goaz recognizes the name and can't believe that he is responsible for his downfall. A squirt? What the hell? Liam asks the commander who this guy is, and he says it seems to be Captain Goaz. The pirate tries to attack him one more time, but Leon dodges and slices him. Goaz can't believe he can't even touch him, and starts begging for his life. He offers his entire treasure in exchange for his life. Liam says, "All right, fine." Oh, that's a lie. No, Goaz keeps begging for his life, and seeing that he doesn't understand, Liam explains it to him in simple terms. "Look, dude, I can't negotiate with you because your treasures are practically already mine. So just resign yourself, goat. You were just another step on my way to the top." Then Goaz changes his negotiation method and proposes working for him. He's already seen how tough he is, so he'll be useful as a soldier. Plus, he offers a hidden treasure worth more than his head. Liam is interested in that last part and tells him he'll tell the interrogator, and that way they'll know what to look for while they extract the truth by all possible means. Goaz but Liam is fed up with him and takes his last leg. The commander asks if he plans to hand him over alive, because he has proven to be very dangerous. Liam says that it's worth it because if they hand him over alive, the reward the Empire gives them for him will increase. The commander tells him that they don't give the same reward whether he's alive or dead. Liam says, "Oh, well, if that's the case, we can save ourselves the trouble of transporting him." And poof, he finishes him off. You return once more, and with that, this battle against the pirates ends. If you made it to this part of the video, don't forget to write the word Exquisito in the comment box. A billion thanks, and see you in the next one. The cities are blooming with the threats defeated. The citizens are happy, including the people at the bar, who take back the comments they made 2 decades ago when Liam became the new count of this place as just a 5-year-old. Now, they think that there couldn't have been a better person than Liam to rule this place. And so, they express their gratitude towards the young man they probably will never get to see. Speaking of the evil lord, he's currently in his mansion, where a merchant from Henry Company has come to offer some trades. The merchant wishes to buy the treasures Liam obtained from the pirates after defeating them, and hearing the prices, Liam turns to Amagi, since he's bad at math, and Amagi suggests he accept the deal, as the money would help them pay off a good amount of their family's debt. Liam cannot believe he still has debts remaining, and that is so much that he cannot even pay off everything even after selling all of the treasures he obtained from this war. The merchant asks for Liam's attention, reminding him of the time he gave him a medical device to treat people who were experimented on by Goaz. Apparently the developer of the device wants the clinical trial data for their new device. For that, Liam summons Christiana, who is now back in her true knight form. She comes there, kneels before Liam, reporting to him that she's completed all of her treatment and has been released from the clinic. She thanks Liam for once again allowing her to live as a human being. But before she can continue glazing him more, Liam stops her, stating he doesn't have any interest in her trouble, explaining that he's only summoned her because the merchant here wants to learn about the results of her medical treatment. Understanding that a bit too much, I guess. Christiana gets up and starts taking off her clothes to let the merchant have a good look at her restored body. She also subtly mentions that as her lord, Liam can stare at her as much as he wants to. But of course, Mr. Weirdo here has zero interest in real women, so he tells her to only show the stuff to the merchant. The merchant hesitates since he exactly isn't the one who needs to see her state, so he explains to Christiana that it's actually the developer of the medical device who requested the clinical trial report. Nas comes there upon hearing that Liam has just made a fortune from selling his goods to the merchant. She wants all of his freshly acquired capital, and so she's come here with hopes of making him buy another one of her shitty battleships. But before she can seduce her way into making Liam buy her stuff, she notices that another girl is here who's already undressed. Unable to believe that there's someone else in this world who can stoop as low as her and degrade themselves. Nas pushes Christiana away and starts unpacking herself as well. Christiana doesn't know Nas, so she becomes offended and draws her sword at Nas for acting rude towards both her and Liam. Pointing her sword at Nas's neck, she demands Nias get away from her lord, calling her a shameless B-word. Nas doesn't get scared at all, and in response, she tells Christiana to give up already, claiming that Liam only loves her body and nobody else. Someone else enters the room at that very moment, breaking the tension between the two girls, and she is Ulicia Morisil from the 3rd Weapons Factory, which is far superior to Nas's factories. Ulicia goes straight to business, informing Liam about her advanced factory that has everything from micro-machine weaponry to ultra-powerful battleships. Ulicia's battleships draw Liam in instantly, so he turns to Amagi asking her if they have the funds to buy Ulicia's battleships. Amagi in reply educates Liam about a formal process where a count requires the Empire's permission to purchase battleships that are almost 2 ME in size. Unfortunately for them, the Banfield family doesn't have that permission, but Liam doesn't care. He wants the ship and he'll do anything for it. Nas desperately tries to make Liam buy hers instead, but even Christiana realizes how bad of a person Nas is, so she demands Nias get away from Liam immediately. Brian comes there informing Liam about a letter they've received from the capital planet of the Empire. The letter congratulates Liam on defeating Go's pirate gang, and to award him, Liam is invited to an award ceremony at the capital planet, where he will be given a Medal of Honor. Soon after, Liam heads to the capital planet along with Amagi, and is staying at the palace briefly when 4 unfamiliar faces visit him. Liam has no idea who these people are, which leaves one of them upset that Liam doesn't recognize them as. Amagi reveals that the man here is Liam's father. Liam finally remembers him as the man who forced all his debts on him when he was just 5. Liam's mom is also here, along with Liam's grandfather and grandmother, and she assumes that Liam deep down still loves her because he is still holding on to Amagi, who she had given him as his 5th birthday gift. In any case, Liam's mom advises Liam to keep Amagi away for a while because the Empire doesn't like AI dolls. His grandfather also orders Liam to throw Amagi away, mocking him for needing a babysitter even though he's now an adult. Amagi steps back before Liam's family can disrespect him even more because of her. But Liam tells her to stay by his side. He is sick of his family already, so he asks them straightforwardly what they want from him. Liam's father replies honestly, stating that they've only come here because they want Liam to pay their bills. Liam's parents have already been getting a monthly allowance, but Liam's mother isn't satisfied with it and wants Liam to give her more money every month. When Liam realizes that these blood-sucking leeches aren't his family at all, so he draws his sword, making it clear to them that the money and the territory belong to him and him only. His family leaves for now, deciding to come back later in the future when Liam's mood gets better. With them gone, Liam coldly stares into the distance and tells Amagi that she is his only family in this world. Meanwhile, the guide is getting more and more frustrated, so he influences Liam's family this time, using his powers to brainwash them into applying for an official change of family head so they can get all of Liam's assets. If Liam tries to resist, they also plan to hire assassins to get rid of him. Setting this up, the guide is pleased. And now, he's certain that this is the end for Liam. However, the glowing dog who has been saving Liam all this time sees everything, and perhaps this time too, the dog will do something to protect Liam. As they discuss, Amagi walks past the corridor and sees an image of a dog coming out of the room. She feels concerned and goes closer to the door to find out what is going on. She uses her technological eyes to scan through the room to see who and what is there, and she sees Cliff and the others. Instead of knocking on the door, she eavesdrops to hear what they are saying. She overhears them asking what they will tell the Emperor when they want to change the count, and they plan to tell him that Liam has a doll by his side and even brought one to the palace. So he doesn't deserve to be the count. She doesn't react and walks away sadly. She sits and watches the celebration, while Cliff and his evil relatives find their way to the Emperor to do their evil deeds. The Emperor refuses to grant their offer. They are angry because they thought the Emperor would jump at it. They ask him why he is refusing, and he tells them that Liam is the count every city needs. He has paid his debts, is improving the lives of his people, protects his assets, and recently defeated the pirate, which has earned him great honor and pride, increasing the prestige of the country as a whole. So, if they were the head of the Empire, would they accept removing someone like that just to bring back Riffraff to the throne again? He asks what could be their reason for deciding that Liam should be removed, and they shamelessly reveal that Liam has a doll by his side and even brought the doll to the palace. He reminds them that owning a doll isn't a crime. There is no punishment for it. It is just customarily frowned upon. And when there is no law, there is no sin, so Liam cannot be punished for it. Trying to drive their point home, they remind the Emperor of the reason dolls were frowned upon in the first place, and how it is seen as a rebellion against the Empire. The Emperor isn't unfamiliar with this, but Liam remaining as Count is financially profitable to the Empire, so he reinstates this to them. They promise that if they are returned to the throne, they will also make sure they pay their taxes on time and wouldn't owe. The Emperor doesn't intend to be swayed by such empty promises. He had watched them as counts and has seen how they behaved when they were the ones in that position, so he wouldn't fall for it. He refuses their offer and sends them out. After they leave, he speaks to the door, asking the person there if that is what she wants. It turns out that Amagi had met with the Emperor after the conversation she overheard to ensure that Liam's position remained secured. She enters the office and speaks. She appreciates the Emperor for not accepting Cliff's demand, but the Emperor asks her if she thinks her offer makes sense. She had promised the Emperor earlier that if he didn't accept the offer, she would use all the money they got from Go's pirate to pay off their due taxes and ensure they no longer owed. The Emperor admits that the money was enough, but wonders if she doesn't think they could use it for something else, and if her offer was profitable to her count. She insists and says that it is a profitable offer. If his position is secured, they could earn more. The Emperor reinstates that dolls are really stupid because even if she didn't come to him with that offer, he wouldn't have allowed Cliff back on the throne, so she didn't win anything from paying him back. Well, she doesn't care. It is a win-win for her. She returns to Liam and he sleeps on her leg. He complains to her about the several parties they have to attend. He excitedly talks about the bucket party he attended, how he had thought the party would be trash, and he was disappointed that the party made sense and he enjoyed it. She is just glad he is able to enjoy everything he has been experiencing. She had spent her time weighing the profit of being around him and the danger of leaving him. So, she decides that it is time to leave. She tells him that she had served him for a long time and he is almost an adult. Indeed, the age for adulthood in that city is 50 and he is 40 already. He admits that she is right, but it still doesn't feel like a long time to him. She reveals it is about time she left him. He stands up, wears his shoes, and asks if she wants to take a break. He is fine with a break so she can also get time for herself. However, that isn't her intention. She wants out completely. He can't believe that. He tells her she cannot leave him. He complains that everyone in his life has abandoned him, so she cannot abandon him too. She reminds him of how dolls are treated in the city, and talks about how he had treated her like a human and not a doll. How he loved her, and sought her opinion every time. That is enough for her and she can't ruin him. So, she has to leave. He insists she can't go. So, she reminds him that he gave her 3 rules. The first rule is that she must not harm him or do anything to endanger him. She insists that at the moment she is a loophole in his life and a danger, so she has to step out. He reminds her of the second rule, which is that she must obey all his commands, so he commands her to stay. However, she doesn't. That rule contradicts the first rule, so she can't stay. Seeing that he can't convince her, he feels so sad. She also feels sad that she is leaving and closes her eyes in pain. He reminds her of the last rule. She admits that the rule exists, just that if it contradicts the first 2 rules, she has to obey the first rule. The third rule is that she must protect herself. She doesn't have an issue with that, as she can still protect herself while being away from him. That isn't what he is talking about. He is talking about her feelings. Does she feel like leaving him? Although she cannot have feelings like humans, she admits that when she calculated leaving him, she could feel her system overloading. It was as if she wanted to break. She doesn't want it to. She tears up as he realizes he still has a way to make her stay. He tells her that once she steps out of that door, he will drink himself to death, gamble, and lose all the money he had gotten. He would die on the street broke or get killed by the remaining pirates in revenge. If that is what she wants, then she can leave. Seeing that the danger he threatens is far greater than the danger she will pose by being around him, she decides to stay. He goes to bury himself in her chest, and she rubs his head. He reminds her that they have always been together from the beginning, but she jokingly reminds him that Brian has been with them too. He laughs that Brian isn't in that category and they leave for home. As they enter their ship, he thinks about his life now. He can't help but appreciate the guide for this great life. The guide gets a severe heartache from the appreciation, and begs that Liam stop thanking him. But Liam appreciates him repeatedly and appreciates us, the viewers, as the season ends.